There is no value into an idea. All the value into is the execution, and execution is hard. 80% of the games that are under development will never be going live. They will be shut down or killed before long. First, like Sunshine will not be just gaming focused.
You yourself was rumored to have been laid off from the project.
So we decided to buy back our publisher to do everything by ourselves.
So hello everyone, and welcome to Web3 Builders Voice podcast. So I'm Leo, I'm the founder of SquareDAO, a private community of Web3 builders in Vietnam and South Asia, building the decentralized future. So today I'm honored to have a very special guest for our very first episode, Sébastien Borget, the co-founder of the Sandbox. I don't think we need to introduce again. It's like the #1 metaverse project ever. One of the biggest gaming and metaverse project in Web3. So Sébastien is someone who has bridged game design, digital asset ownership, and community in powerful ways. And so today I'll be your guy and the interviewer for Sébastien. We go through his journey, his vision for the future of Web3 gaming and metaverse, and then what it takes to build in uncertain markets, especially right now. So let's dive in. I think, hey GM, Sébastien, maybe we can start by telling us a little bit about your background. I'm sure you said it hundreds of times, but maybe make it more personal and maybe share a bit about your journey, how you got into Web3 and all that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So hello everyone, pleasure to be here for this very first episode. It's an honor. My name is Sébastien Borget. I'm the co-founder of Sandbox. I'm 40 years old, serial entrepreneur. Started always in the space of new technology. In 2007, I graduated from an engineering school in France. I was back then like an open source developer in the space of peer-to-peer technology with BitTorrent, one of the first applications of decentralization. Then I was writing open source code, and as I was doing my final exchange program in Hong Kong for the last semester, I've been approached by my co-founder Arthur Madrid, who asked me to work with him on his first startup, which back then was like providing solution for video on demand websites, sports event to download HD video and save bandwidth costs thanks to peer-to-peer. Started working together on this project, and as I came back from France, my first job was with him. Fast forward, that company got acquired a year later. We in that site and video portals, such as one for universal music, for people watch music clips online in high definition. Then we left and we founded a new company, our first one of the first Web2 services where people could upload photo, video, and music in the cloud and share it with their friends. And for $9.99 a month, they could have unlimited storage to upload in the cloud photos, video, and music. Before it was named the cloud, you could stream it from any device before it was even Netflix, Spotify, and other services. Great success. We had tens of thousands of people paying that subscription. And we exited that company after 2 years. And in 2011, like I realized one of my childhood dream, which was like to launch my own video game company. That was right at the time Android phones, and we could get and we so we started to make games with famous IPs like Garfield, Snoopy, Addams Family, and other cool characters. Self-publishing them. And among those games, one title was the Sandbox. Sandbox, the original mobile game in 2D. Back in 2011, we already wanted to enable people to make games just with a touch of their finger and share their creation with others. And that's what we did, and it turned into a huge success following Minecraft steps. Because there was no Minecraft on mobile at that time. We had 40 million downloads, 70 million player-made creation. People love the product. We make good revenue. And in 2019, we've been acquired by Animoca Brands. And at that time, we joined force with Animoca, became part of the group, and relaunched a new version of Sandbox, this time with blockchain, with NFTs at the core, for a very simple reason. That reason being that all the content that those creators made, we realized quickly that fame, reputation, featuring, likes, that wasn't enough. And like our creators, they wanted something more. They actually wanted to earn a revenue from the content they created. And I was struggling to actually find a way to share with them a portion of the revenue we were making as a game studio. We tried to, with Apple and Google Play, that was not possible. We tried to send manual payment by PayPal after we established contract, once we find the contact of our creators. That was slow, not scalable, like a very cumbersome process to do by hands. And so like technology was failing on this. There was no real way until I discovered about blockchain. And blockchain really came out as the solution here for providing this ownership and the ability for people to send payments to each other and to own digital content without us as the intermediary. It really came out when I found this game, CryptoKitties, that instead of owning virtual cats, CryptoKitties being one of the pioneer game in blockchain, we could use the technology to enable any content made by a creator to be an NFT and then to be sold on the marketplace, to be exchanged, and to monetize directly. From there, like we built one of the leading flagship Web3 projects in Web3. It grew into a large success. We have had over 8 million users with a wallet. So we've been a driving force to onboard more people in Web3. We brought in more than 400 major brands and partners, enabling the user-generated content together with your favorite characters, your favorite celebrities. We became a leader in virtual real estate with this map where people could buy land and become the neighbor of their favorite celebrity like Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, Gucci, Ubisoft, and so on. And we also launched a token, Sand, which is still today a top 100 cryptocurrency, listed globally, and that's powering the creator economy on Sandbox and also being used for many other purposes and utilities.
Okay, I actually was going to ask a couple follow-up questions, but I think you covered them all. So I think your professional journey, how you got to where you are in Web3 and crypto in general, also the journey of Sandbox. Oh, that's great. So I guess let me ask you this question, right? After all that, right? Like I think in the last few years, I think we both been in at least like 1 or 2 cycles here. So I think having seen like the volatility and the uncertainty and the market changes in Web3 and in crypto, what makes you decide to stay and keep building? Like what's your drive? Right? What's the rationale? Like what's your motivation?
I think that's a very good question. Like first, like I've been always a pioneer, but I do believe that we can always achieve more and better. So what I'm seeing now is the creator economy. We've been doing an amazing job to onboard millions of people to become first-time creators, whether they make 2D games on the first mobile version or they make 3D games with our no-code game maker. We facilitated the possibility to make games for the first time for many of them, but the creators are still struggling today with like the ability to engage their audience, to build communities, to create sustainable business model, to monetize as well. And so I'm always looking at like, how can we do better? How can we challenge this status quo and like enable really like for creators not only to get started, but to actually thrive and make a living from their activity. So today we're going to announce, not today, but we're going to announce in a few weeks from now at Token 2049, something I've been directly working on, which is, I think will be a great solution for all creators, not just on Sandbox, but anyone who participate and make content, part of like the creator economy. we think like we've been able to onboard millions of users to discover what is the metaverse, to play games and experiences with their avatar. But still, as technology gets better, like the quality of these experiences and what they can feel and experience of like what is the metaverse to them, and like keeps improving. So with better quality of graphic, with more multiplayer gameplay, with new interaction, with faster loading time, with more the content that's being generated by the creators themselves, or even now sometimes with the help of AI, I think we can deliver a better experience overall. And it's exciting to be at the front end of this leading that innovation. You may wonder, like, the same question for people who've been making video game in the 80s. Why are they still here making games today? And like, why a virtual world like Second Life or Sandbox or Fortnite or Roblox still keep existing today? Because I think like there is this pursuit of like always delivering more fun, always delivering like higher engagement, experiences that transcend the medium thanks to the technology, something that allow us to be closer to each other, to connect, to make friends, to play, to have fun, now to monetize and to make a living as well. And we're still scratching the surface of like what can be done. So sometimes movies and science fiction, they project a little bit where it can be headed. We are not into this yet paradigm like the Ready Player One movie, such as like we still don't have like flying cars all around us as they were imagining in the 50s in a lot of science fiction movies. But there is a dream, and I think like we can create still more funny immersive game. We can create platform where people can discover new talents, be more creative, and make a revenue. We can open opportunities, and we can do it in a way where like the value that's being created just doesn't go only to the developer of the platform or one big company like a Facebook, a Google, and so on, but it can be done in a fair way where both the players, the developers, and other contributors can benefit as well.
Very interesting. So again, I think this episode will be released after your speech at Token 2049. I think. So I think we're talking a bit in the future tense here. But you mentioned Sunchain, and that. So how would that work? Like, is that going to be built based off the current Sandbox infrastructure, like the asset that's already within the Sandbox metaverse, or how would that work? Like, can you clarify?
Yeah, so it's so we've been building our own layer 2 blockchain over Ethereum. The idea with Sunchain is like to provide like to be the financial backbone of the creator economy and enable content creator to actually thrive, engage better their audience, distribute points and drive up loyalties and reward, to expand to new monetization model, including launching their token on the chain, and even to have access to new financing, to ways of financing, which can be like access to payments in crypto for the revenue they are making. We don't want creators to leave the platform where they are. So like one intention point is like creators should keep building where their audience is, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, even like Roblox, Fortnite, or the App Store. We should just be an extra way to engage their audience and turn fans into like the fuel of the creator economy to create a more fair value system where like loyalty has value, engagement has value, every action can be on chain. Your reputation is based on your action, and like you can see like how much engaged are your fans, what they are doing, and so on. I'm very excited about the launch of the Sunchain that will be announced on October 1st, or has been announced, if that's in the a video to be published in the future on October 1st. And this is a starting point. We don't pretend to know exactly all the solution or to have all the solution for the problem of creators, but at least being a creator-driven chain, working with creators to build a solution, enabling third party to develop apps as well, their own, I don't know, DEX, Launchpad, loan solution, marketplaces, ticketing solution, thing that content creator could benefit from. I think it's a strong positioning, and it comes together with the Sandbox brand. And it's going to utilize the Sand token, our existing Sand token that's listed globally on 80 exchange, that will become an universal currency of payment, accepted on multiple apps and games to be published on the Sand chain. Also, the Sandbox virtual world ultimately will be by running things on the Sand chain, launching NFTs on the Sand chain. You will be able to bridge your Sand, bridge your lands, will reward the users for their participation before. So I think like expanding the vision of Sandbox. Our mission, as I mentioned, always been empowering creators. This is the next phase for us, the next chapter, to keep powering the creators.
Interesting. So maybe for builders and founders and developers in developing market like Vietnam, because again, Squareout, we stem from Vietnam. We have a lot of Vietnamese builders and also people who are based out of South Asia. Which think about South Asia, you have like the Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam, which was like I think the top market for Web3 gaming in the last cycle, right? So how would Sand Chain, how can they join and build with you or like collaborate with you? And also for Web3 gamers in these market, like in Vietnam and South Asia in general, like how would they participate in Sand Chain, right? Maybe clarify on that as well.
Yes, so it's a standard blockchain or L2 over Ethereum. So we'll have progressively a private testnet right after the announcement, public testnet in a few weeks, and like mainnet probably around Q1 2026. We'll run events, hackathons. We'll look to build solution with the community of developers. So that's also something exciting because I believe like it opens a lot of possibility for like building than just like creating voxel based and game experience as before for Sandbox, enabling people to write smart contract, to develop new kind of application, leveraging our existing ecosystem of brands and other partners of Sandbox. We're welcoming content creators, influencers, people who have like, I don't know, a distribution, some channel on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitch, or building apps as well to explore with us how like the loyalty and engagement solution that the Sand Chain will be providing. And we'll be looking at builders to integrate within their existing apps, the Sand Chain and Sand token, or to build new dedicated apps with us. So really taking a broad approach here for both builders and creators.
Okay, so I think a part of that has to do with the fact that like Sand Chain will be like one of the key like gaming chains that's going to focus on not only like content creators and crypto users, but also like gamers, right? So what do you think about like what's going on in Web3 gaming right now? Like I think every week we see like either Web3 game shutting down and abandoning the project and stuff like that. So where are we with that? Like, and how would you guys like when you're building Sand Chain and like building out the Sandbox ecosystem together with Sand Chain is gonna contribute to, I guess, like the revival of Web3 gaming, right? Whenever that is. So yeah, I'm just curious, like what's your viewpoint on what's going on with Web3 gaming right now, and what do we need to bring back Web3 gaming?
So first, like Sand Chain will not be just gaming focused. It's very important to really think like we will be able to touch other use cases. I see it more of like a culture related chain by focusing on like the creator economy and be creator driven. That could mean like music, art, sport, entertainment in general, not just gaming. Now, like Web3 gaming, I believe there is this interesting trend of like the maturity of the game that are launching. It's much higher. The quality of the gameplay, they are more fun, and the gaming ecosystem is more fragmented than ever. So you have like great success on Telegram games. You have like games like Gunzilla on Avalanche, which brought something like 18 million users. You have games like um, the Angry Dynamites, Project Voyager, which also like started to gather a high number of users and interest. You have games with Maple Story as well, which is quite successful. But they are not existing into one ecosystem only. They are not just Ethereum based. So you have different chains which are like leading product that onboards millions of users to play in Web3 games. The blockchain sometimes is more. So you have two trends. Either like the blockchain part is more hidden, like NFL rivals, FIFA rivals, the new PUBG party game, and so on. And like blockchain is used, for example, when you're trading item on the marketplace for players. It uses crypto and decentralized automated market maker typically for exchanging items, but players don't even know they're playing the game on mobile. They don't have a token and so on. So great fun game, successful on typical platform. Players don't know about blockchain, and then you have like other kind of blockchain game that use like I don't know, real money gaming, skill based, like betting, like poly market as well. You're starting to do prediction market. You have like staking mechanics, and they're going one step further into like yes the financialization as well, exploring new mechanics, exploring the fact that you have to progress across one or multiple game. You have to trade resource with others to progress, stake resource with others. I would call them more like management game in the way where the level of knowledge and proficiency of the user of the audience is higher, but the games are better executed than they were like in the past. And yeah, you will have, which is interesting in the gaming industry, is you have like great number of vertical. Like you can have like games for like management game, match free game, casual, and triple A game. So you need for different audiences. It's quite normal. If you even forget about blockchain, the success rate in the gaming industry and in general in the entertainment industry is quite low. So for every single game, maybe let's say 80% of the games that are under development will never be going live. They will be shut down or killed before launch because they will not pass like the traditional KPI you look at soft launch. And out of every game that is launched, more than only 1/3 of them after 3 years will still be live with live ops and so on. So you can see like the chance of games to stay live, to have found their audience, etc., is very low. And now you have on one side a new technological trend, which is AI and vibe coding, and people making games faster and faster using those. More games available means also like higher chance of failure among all, like proportionally. But at least we're seeing innovation, we're seeing experimentation. There is still a lot of product being developed. There are still platforms that mean distribution as well, whereas some other failed to get sufficient distribution or to find their audience because like the typical stores or chains still do not mean distribution for the users, for the developers to the users. And also, I'm still optimistic about blockchain gaming. But soon, I'm also the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance. It's an association that counts 600 members, a non-profit. We're showcasing what our members are doing in terms of blockchain-based games, educating about the use of blockchain technology, connecting, attending events, and so on. Every year, we have this industry survey where we are sharing the opinion and view for our members around like our industry, the challenges, where it's going, and so on. So maybe let's wait to see the results. They will be live around December to have a better view of like where we're standing as an industry as a whole.
Very cool. Quick question: How do you become a member of the alliance?
Oh, it's very easy. blockchaingamealliance.net. We will put the link. You can be, so you can just attend our event and so on. Everything is free. There's no restriction. Or you can be a basic member. The membership is €500 a year. That's it, and you get all the benefits. Networking with the members, attending the event, free booth at some conference, free tickets to the conference, the demo day online where you can present your game, the new member presentation, pitching to investors. We regularly organize this kind of event, being included into the annual report and the magazine as well. And we're here to help you. So anything you need, you tell us, you ask us, and we'll try to make it happen. And then there's higher tiers if you want to support. We have silver and gold tiers, which give even more benefits and visibility at the events, which are ranging in, I think, 5K a year and 15K a year. So we try to pack a lot of value. We have a team traveling the world at every event. We'll be at Korea Blockchain Week. We'll be at Token 2049. We are at Tokyo Game Show and all the main conference, Gamescom, GDC, in Dubai, in Paris, and in Latam too.
Very cool. I'd love to see more Vietnamese game project, Web3 game project joining the BGA. All right, let's move on to the next sensitive topic, right? So recently there's been rumor flying around that the Sandbox has to let go of a lot of people. You yourself was rumored to have been laid off from the project. And again, I mean, I know it's sensitive, but I just want to ask, like, so given the recent market headwinds, especially in gaming, and all these rumors, all these noise happening around you, how you been dealing with this? And then what have been some of the hard decisions you have to make as a leader of organization, as a leader of the Sandbox, to ensure that the Sandbox has a future?
So there's a few things here to take into account. So now my co-founder Archer Madrid and myself will remain very involved on Sandbox and its future. Like you have heard me before, building the Sandchain, expanding the ecosystem. I'm global ambassador, so I'm speaking around the world at different conferences and events. I'm sharing the updates of Sandbox, such as our Alpha Season 6 launching on September 24th, or the new product that will be announced as well very soon. I think it's like the Sandbox, we have only seen the beginning of what it could be. Like the mission we have to empower people to become creators, we're still working hard toward that mission. Like we built a 2D game, we built a 3D world with a marketplace and brought the brands and the token and the creators. We enabled millions of people to create games. We never intended that it should be limited only to games. So my mission now is to keep empowering more creators more broadly, to drive more utility for the Sand token and to always explore like how we can do better. Sandbox itself, like we've accomplished a lot of great things thanks to the team. Everyone has participated to that journey. We've grown in Asia. We had teams on the ground in Vietnam as well. Maybe some of you met or attended our events. And we continue to support those initiatives with the DAO, with like the existing team, with the chain now. And I think it's quite exciting. Now, thinking about like some of the decision, I think it's there was a lot of interesting decision I've made in my entrepreneurship career that have led to like always positive outcome. For example, originally the Sandbox on mobile, we were only the developer, we were not the publisher of that game. And the publisher, their mission is to get more marketing, more press, more featuring on the App Store back in 2011. We were just getting started. We never knew about like Apple, Google, who are the right people, how to get featured. After a few weeks of the launch, we realized that our publisher was not as involved as we were as developer to get our game featured. The job of the publisher is usually to get more games in their catalog, more launch. once you launch, you become less interesting to them. But on the opposite side, for us, like it was critical to keep having those updates, those featuring, and so on. And so we decided to buy back our publisher to do everything by ourselves. Even I was just starting in the video game industry with my co-founder, right? So we spent all the revenue to buy it back from that publisher. And it was scary because then we had no more revenue in the company, no more runway, but we would believe strongly in Sandbox. And so we bought back. And within 1 month, we actually made the same amount of revenue afterward. So we were able to pay us back and keep on the stock. That was one key moment. Another key moment was we were co-producing a game with Activision, developing Snoopy Town Tale, a mobile game with Snoopy, as I was saying in the introduction. And that game, suddenly Activision closed their US office, which was in charge of the development of that game. 200 people were laid off overnight. And we didn't know what would happen with Snoopy and our development because, like, again, we were developing, they were the publisher. And we managed to get back the license ourselves to be the publisher and the developer. We took the financial risk and it paid off as well again, because we believe in the product, in the quality. And overall, like there's been constantly key decision, same for the Sandbox when it was a time to decide if we would want to launch the Sand token right away as soon as possible, or we wanted to wait over time, growing a community of real users using the voxel editor called VoxEdit, the game maker. We wanted to show that we were able to sell land and have a community of people engaged who have high value and participating before we actually approach exchanges and list our token. And that's what we did. And we waited only until August 2020, so over 2 years until we launched the Sand token. But that was a perfect timing because at that time, Binance, after many years and months of relationship, showing them what we were doing, showing them that we have a community that we could bring, and we're eager to get Sand token on Binance, so create an account on Binance. That's what an exchange usually wants. We were one of the featured projects picked up on their launchpad that they were just reopening after 1 year of closure. And that was a great strategic moment. That was a perfect timing with a great product, a great community behind. And if we were rushed too much just for the sake of having the token live, it was not strategic, not the right support, or not the exchange we shortlisted as one of the top exchanges for us to go live. Maybe we would have been missing a lot of the momentum behind. So in a nutshell, I think like this, sometimes always a good alignment. You never know if like it's because you work hard and you can think everything strategically. So you don't control everything for sure. There's a good part of luck. There is a part of like being prepared for it, like being ready with a good product, a good community, not chasing, but inverting like the balance of like power in a way by having something of value to offer in exchange to your business partner. So then you're not just asking them in a one-way direction. And now, like for the Sandbox, I feel like we have reached a certain level of maturity with the gaming virtual world. We're producing our seasons faster. The tools are better. And it's the right timing to go and explore again, like how we can build a bigger ecosystem that will support creators, not just in gaming virtual world experiences, but beyond.
Cool. So the trade-off here is like you have to let go of the short-term, some of the short-term benefits and gains to aim for the long-term development and the long-term vision, right?
There's one part, yes, and sometimes it's like keep working hard, and like sometimes if you really believe in your vision, you could actually make the tough decision that could be fruitful afterwards.
Cool. So I think I have 2 more questions, and now I'm letting you go. I think we're hitting the 40-minute mark here. So you've been in games and Web3 for over a decade, as you yourself just told us before. So what if you could meet yourself back then, especially at the moment when you was going from Web 2 into building what today would be the Sandbox, right? What advice would you give yourself, like your former self?
It's always a tough question.
Yeah.
mm,
Well, you
I
know
think
why I'm asking
like,
this? Because so one reason why I'm asking this question, because we recently, especially in Vietnam and South Asia in general, there's a lot of Web 2 founders and Web 2 developers who are looking for a move into Web 3. Not necessarily game. It could be like payment, could be real asset, it could be DeFi, it could be SocialFi. But I think all these guys, the one that I talked to at least, they're looking for like inspiration, and they're looking for advice, looking for guidance, looking for mentorship. So that's why I'm asking you the question. Like, if you have to give yourself, your former self, a piece of advice or like mentorship, what would you tell him?
yeah, always like the first thing is like always be curious, like be hungry in a sense of like, yes, you believe in a technology, you believe into some impact that that technology can drive, but don't just stick to like believing, like go do a deep research. Like if you want to build a product into a certain vertical or a game, you have to benchmark so much. You have to be the user, you have to download games, you have to play those games, not just 5 minutes. You have to reach a level 100 of those games until you understand like and you think like a user of those games. um if you want to understand blockchain and you want to be in Web3, you have to buy NFTs. You have to understand what's the experience like on OpenSea. You have to interact with DeFi. You need to make your wallet. So I always believe in the value of experience. Like, yes, you can be onto something very exciting, but it's only theory if you just put a nice slide deck and you never use a product yourself. So this is very important to look serious in front of investors, business partners, etc. You cannot say I'm running a blockchain-based game if you haven't bought yourself or played yourself into many of those, or you can show what you have on your wallet, you can prove your reputation. And usually it's there is no value into an ID. All the value into is the execution, and execution is hard. Like not only you have to get the funding, building 90% of the project is harder, but last 10% will make all the difference. And it's the hardest part. Like you don't imagine the amount of hours of details you need to put to look at everything, every aspect, um, building. And nowadays, like it's not just about being good into one area. I believe like you need to either have like great team members who are really excellent in the areas where you're not, or you have to by yourself complement yourself to be stronger in the areas where you're currently maybe not an expert, whether it's like development, finance, UI, UX, mobile, blockchain technology. Those are things. And so um, as a younger person, I think like sometime I might have basically always struggled into like making a decision whether should we just focus in one thing, which is Sandbox, or keep doing many things at the same time, because every single of those things actually was doing well. So I was never able to say, okay, everything is doing well, but the one with the biggest potential is this. So let's, you know what, like let's really only focus on that one with the biggest potential, concentrate our resource on that one. It's not easy. I sometimes I think like I am where I am today. It's exciting and I have no regrets. And sometimes I say, wow, what if I only focus on Sandbox and just Sandbox and not the rest? Like, where would I be? I will never know. But like, at least like my recommendation, be super focused. Like it's hard enough to build one success. Imagine just two.
Well, I mean, you can build consecutive successes, right? But I agree with you. I think starting up is hard, and starting up in Web3 is even harder. So my last question for you is like, you have to have you give like sort of like an advice to your old self. But I think you have to give an advice to all the Web3 builders and founders today. What would it be like? What would they need to concern themselves with in order to succeed in this industry?
Right. I think starting today, building in Web3, it's quite different than starting in 2018. Like there is like this much larger choice of ecosystems that you can pick up, whether it's like, should I build on a Solana, on Aptos, on Sui, on Avalanche, on Ethereum, on Polygon, you name it. There is a good number of like great ecosystem. You need to understand like for who you're building for exactly. It cannot be everybody. That's the wrong answer. So really understand deep down like who is your core audience. And like, is that ecosystem actually going to to work for you? You develop an app, you bring users, those users will use that chain, that ecosystem, it benefits the chain. Great. What does the chain do in return for you? Does it bring you more users? Does it support you with marketing? Does it give you grants? Does it have like a great community of developers and technical solutions so you don't need to build everything by yourself? That's really what you have to wonder. And it's not just about transaction speed or grants upfront. It's really understanding like the network effect is not a one-way thing. It's not just you bringing more users with your great product or game to the chain. It's a chain bringing a lot of users because it also has all the great product, or the chain itself is working for you. And that thing, I believe like a lot of builders nowadays, they underestimate. They just look at, oh, it's a chain, there's a lot of TVL, so we'll have a lot of users. No, you have to figure out like, is the users, where does that TVL comes from? The user, are they just institutional? Are they traders? If they are traders, are they actually using product, or are they just trading? And so like, if they are your target audience, great. If they are not, then you're missing the point. And you might be, that could be the difference between a success or a failure, unfortunately, for many projects.
Great words. I think I don't have any more questions, but I have one more question. When will you be coming to Vietnam?
Well, invite me. Like, let's see. Like now, like Sunshine will be live. I think like there will be hopefully a lot of excitement, and people will want to join. We will run like a builder challenge, builder event as well, and like let's see when could be the next big dates in Vietnam to have Sandbox and Sunshine there.
Okay, well, I mean, us as Square, I would love to host you for that, like welcome you to Vietnam, and then maybe like do some event together so when they can connect with other builders and founders. So I think that's it. So thank you, Sébastien, for your insight today. I think some of the stuff you share, I think I haven't heard from anywhere, so that's great. And we would be making sure that we translate all these things correctly, so like everyone, whether they understand English or not, they can understand what you're talking about. And for me personally, you know, we met only a couple of times in the last few years, but I think it's always been fascinating for me to, wherever I talk to you about your vision, your learning, your journey, and you know how humble you are, even though you have like a builder who made it, right? And what it takes to build in this space, in this Web3 industry, with conviction. So I think that's it. And like I said, you know, we would love to host you someday in Vietnam, maybe in Da Nang. We will have a hub there at some point. So we'd love to welcome you to our physical hub in Da Nang.
Amazing.
The Miami of South Asia, as I've been told. So hopefully one day we'll see you on the ground in Vietnam, talking with fellow builders and founders who will be looking forward to working with you. And yeah, if you want to connect with Sébastien, connect with us at Square DAO. Make sure to follow us, make sure to follow our events. And I think to all the future listeners who will be tuning to this video, thank you for listening in. You enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, follow us. And until next time, until then, keep building toward the decentralized future. And once again, thank you, Sébastien.